My stepmom once looked me dead in the eye and said, "You'll never make it without people like us opening the right doors." She meant herself, of course, and her precious daughter. I didn't answer back that day, but life had a funny way of proving her wrong. Back then, my name was Emily Harris. I was 27, working in a modest marketing job in Portland, and madly in love with Noah Reed. We'd been together for 3 years, building dreams over takeout dinners and weekend road trips. He wasn't wealthy, but he was smart, ambitious. He talked about starting his own tech consultancy, and I believed in him more than anyone. We even had a Pinterest board for the little house by the coast we swore we'd buy someday. The problem was my stepmother, Miranda Blake. She'd married my dad when I was in college, and from day one she carried herself like she was auditioning for some country club's most exclusive list. Perfect hair, perfect smile, perfect way of making you feel like you weren't enough. She had a daughter, Chloe, who was the kind of woman people described as effortlessly charming, until you realized that charm came from never having to lift a finger. Chloe didn't work, she curated experiences. Miranda doted on her like she was spun from gold. At first, I didn't think much of it when Miranda seemed a little too interested in Noah. At family dinners, she'd lean in when he talked, laugh a little too warmly, tell him he had so much potential and just needed the right people to open doors. I thought she was just being her fake nice self. Then one night after dinner at their house, I walked past the study and froze. Miranda's voice was low, smooth, almost like she was negotiating a deal. "Noah, you're talented, but talent without connections can only go so far. I can help you. Chloe and we know people who could make your business a success overnight." Noah's voice came back hesitant. "What's the catch? You need to be part of this family. Truly part of it. You and Chloe, you'd be unstoppable together." My stomach dropped so fast I thought I'd pass out. I waited for Noah to laugh to tell her she was insane, but he didn't. The weeks after that were a blur of excuses. He was busy thinking about the future. When we finally sat down, he looked guilty. "Miranda's offer. It's complicated," he said. "She can connect me with investors, help me launch faster than I ever could alone. And the price I said is marrying Chloe." He didn't answer right away. And in that pause, I heard every truth I needed. "I love you," he added quickly, "but I have to think about my future." That sentence carved me open in a way no insult ever could. 2 months later, they were engaged. The wedding was a champagne-drenched circus. I didn't go. Couldn't. But I made one quiet promise to myself: I would not give them the satisfaction of watching me crumble. The first months were brutal. Every time I opened social media there, they were Santorini sunsets, Chloe in designer dresses, Noah smiling like he'd won some prize. But one morning I caught my reflection in the bathroom mirror and realized I was letting them take more than they already had. If I kept living like this, they'd own me forever. So I signed up for night classes, project management, digital strategy. Some nights I'd sit in the bathroom at break and cry, but I kept going. By spring, I'd earned certifications that landed me a job at a small but ambitious startup. My boss, a sharp, encouraging woman named Dana, saw more in me than I saw in myself. She pushed me to take on big clients, to speak up in meetings. Meanwhile, rumors about Noah and Chloe trickled in. The big-shot investors Miranda promised never materialized. Chloe was burning through money faster than Noah could make it. They fought loudly. I didn't take pleasure in it. By then, my life was filling with better things. Weekend hikes, volunteering at the shelter, friends who made me laugh until my ribs hurt. Then came the dinner that changed everything. Dana asked me to join her for a meeting with a potential investor. I almost said no, I was exhausted, but something in her tone told me to go. The restaurant was the kind with soft lighting and waiters who glide instead of walk. At the head of the table sat a man who carried himself like the air bent slightly around him, Adrian Cole. He wasn't flashy. No cufflink theatrics, no loud stories to prove he belonged. But when he spoke, people listened. We talked business most of the night, but every so often his eyes caught mine and I felt seen. Over the next few weeks, Adrian kept showing up not in some overbearing way, but with genuine curiosity. He'd invite our team to events call to check in, send an article he thought I'd like. One night after a late meeting, he walked me to my car and said, "I hope I'm not overstepping, but I'd like to take you out." No business. Just us. Our first date wasn't some white tablecloth cliche. He took me to a little jazz lounge, hidden down an alley where the lights were low and the music wrapped around you. We talked for hours. I laughed more that night than I had in years. Months passed, and my walls, carefully built after Noah, started to crack. Adrian was steady, loyal, and didn't need to prove a damn thing. When he proposed, it was at sunset on a quiet Oregon beach. "I don't care where life takes us as long as I'm with you," he said. And I knew my answer before he even finished asking. We kept our wedding small, just close friends and family. Miranda and Chloe weren't even a consideration. By then, Adrian's influence and resources made Miranda's so-called connections look like loose change. But I loved him for none of that. I loved him because he saw me, believed in me without conditions. I thought my past was finally just that past. But fate had other plans. At a charity gala Adrian's foundation hosted, I walked into the ballroom and stopped dead. Across the room, Chloe stood beside a thinner, older-looking Noah. Miranda was at their side, still polished, still scanning the room for her next target. She hadn't noticed me yet. Adrian was greeting the host, his presence drawing quiet ripples of attention. Then Miranda's eyes landed on me and froze. I was in a midnight blue gown, laughing at something one of Adrian's friends had said, looking nothing like the girl she'd once written off. Adrian joined me, resting his hand lightly at my back, and I could feel the air shift. Noah's face went pale. Chloe's smile flickered. Miranda's mask cracked just enough for me to see the shock underneath. Adrian, blissfully unaware of the history, extended his hand. "Adrian Cole. And this is my wife, Emily." The word wife hung in the air like a slow-burn firework. Miranda's handshake was stiff. Noah muttered something polite without meeting my eyes. Later, as I stepped away to get a drink, Noah appeared beside me. "You look happy," he said quietly. "I am," I replied. Nothing more. He glanced toward Adrian. "He's quite something." "Yes," I said, letting a small smile touch my lips. "He is." The next morning, my phone rang. Last night was unexpected. Miranda's voice said careful but edged. "I had no idea you'd done so well for yourself." I sipped my coffee. "I'm happy, Miranda. Truly happy." There was a pause long enough for me to imagine her jaw tightening. "If I had known." "But you didn't." I cut in gently. "And that's fine. Everything worked out exactly as it should." A week later, Adrian and I ran into Noah on a downtown street. He was alone, suit a little worn, eyes shadowed. We exchanged polite words. He glanced at his watch, mumbled about being late, and disappeared into the crowd. I wondered if he ever thought about the life he traded for promises that never came true. That night at dinner with friends, Adrian pulled out my chair, poured my wine, and whispered, "You look beautiful tonight." It wasn't for anyone else's ears, just ours. And that's when it hit me. The real difference wasn't money or status. It was that Adrian's love wasn't a transaction. It was a partnership built on respect, on seeing me for exactly who I was, and still choosing me. Months later, Miranda sent a Christmas card. No apology, just a generic greeting in handwriting that shook slightly. But I could read between the lines she'd seen the life I'd built, and she knew she had no part in it. The sweetest revenge wasn't the shock on their faces at the gala, or the fact that my husband's influence dwarfed anything she'd ever dangled in front of Noah. It was the quiet joy of knowing I'd built a life full of love, peace, and self-respect, and that I didn't need their approval for a single piece of it. So, if you've ever been left behind, traded in, or told you'd never make it, hear me. You might not see it now, but one day you'll look back and realize the door that slammed in your face was just clearing the way for something better than you imagined. Tell me, have you ever had someone write you off only to live long enough to watch you rise? Because I think we've all got a story like that.